Have you ever learned something that was guaranteed to 10x your productivity, but after a week there's literally no difference in the way you work? This has happened to me more times than I'd like to admit, but there are some books that turned my whole life around and made me go from being in a rut, not being able to get anything done, to staying productive 99% of the day while loving every second of it. This is because these 3 books do something that almost no other book does, a secret that everyone ignores. So in this video, I will show you what the 3 books are, the secret they have in common, and towards the end I will reveal the 3 lessons from the books that you need in order to implement them into your life. The first book is the most underrated one, and to help you understand why, here's a fascinating study. In 1968, a group of elementary students took an IQ test at the beginning of the year. Afterward, 20% of the students were randomly selected and their teachers were told that these kids were geniuses with huge potential. And here's the twist. These students weren't actually any smarter than the others. But still, by the end of the year, when another IQ test was given, those genius students performed like they had suddenly become geniuses. Why? Because their teachers believed these students were geniuses and treated them like it. And this belief became part of the students' self-image, and they started seeing themselves as geniuses too, which led them to actually becoming geniuses. This shows how your actions and everything you do is shaped by your self-image, which is largely determined by what your brain is told about you. And here's a little secret. Most of what your brain is told about you are things you tell yourself. You think, I'm not a gym guy, or I'm stupid, I'm worthless, I'm not brave, I'm a failure, and then you'll act like it. This first book teaches you how your brain can change and adapt just from your thoughts. A process called neuroplasticity, which literally reshapes your brain. But how can neuroplasticity make you more productive? When you read this book, you will realize that everything you do and think communicates something to yourself. You'll become aware of how careful you need to be with the thoughts you let into your mind, because that's fully up to you. So instead of thinking, my work is so boring, or I can't wait to get off work today, you will start replacing these thoughts with, I love what I do, and I can't wait to make great progress today. And before you know it, you'll start enjoying work more and being more productive. This first book is The Power of Neuroplasticity by Dr. Shad Helmstetter, and it genuinely changed the way I look at work and made me so much more productive. Now, the second book blew me away because I thought it would simply teach me how to work with better focus. But it's so much more. It's actually a deep and beautiful book about happiness. It provides scientific proof that true happiness comes from being productive and focused. So reading this book literally made me crave work because I became deeply convinced that working hard is the key to a fulfilling life. It's proven that we are the happiest when we are in a flow state. And that's exactly what this book, Flow by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, is about. So, how do you get into a flow state? Because it's not as simple as you might think. Whatever you're doing, you need to match your skill level with the difficulty of the task. The task should challenge you enough that you really have to try and commit to succeed. Think back to when you played video games as a kid. As a beginner, you picked easy mode, but you had to do your best because you sucked. So you were really focused. But as your skills improved, it got boring at easy mode. So you switched to normal mode and found your flow again. But when you overestimated yourself and chose expert mode, it became stressful and too hard. You want to balance these. The deepest and most fulfilling tasks are those that are both very difficult and match your high skill level. However, it is important to note that not everything that puts you in a flow state leads to happiness. For example, playing video games all day isn't fulfilling for most people, even if it's on the right difficulty setting. The activity should matter to you and ideally shouldn't, fry your dopamine system. Now, this third book significantly boosted my productivity because it made me realize something crucial, a lesson that can be the difference between success and failure in everything you do. And that lesson is that failure is good. Now you might be thinking, how can failure possibly be good? Well, first of all, because you learn from it. As they say, success is the worst teacher. Many successful people actually credit their achievements to their past failures because without those setbacks, they wouldn't have gained the insights that brought them to where they are today. Secondly, accepting that failure can be good doesn't just stop it from ruining you. It has a mind-blowing effect. You stop fearing it. In fact, even one step further, you start welcoming it. You begin to welcome the difficulties and obstacles on your journey because you know that you'll face them with a strong mindset and they'll help you grow rather than tear you down. The book I'm talking about is, of course, The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. Now, did you notice what all of these books had in common? They're quite different for a set of books that help you boost productivity. They didn't just change how I work. They changed my relationship with work. They didn't hand me a new productivity strategy, a fancy tool, or the latest program. What they offered was far more valuable: the mindset needed to work in the best way possible. And that's actually the first out of these 3 crucial lessons I learned from these books. Whether it's overcoming hardships, learning to love what you do, or shutting down negative thoughts, mindset is everything. And that brings me to the next lesson. You decide what mindset you have and how you feel about the work. It's entirely within your control to approach work with a positive attitude or to sit there silently cursing the task in front of you. And you need a strong mindset to stay positive until it becomes second nature. The third and final lesson is that the why is more important than the how. The reason you work is far more important than the productivity tools or programs you use. And your why should make the task itself more desirable. It shouldn't be, I want to reach this goal, so I'll force myself to work hard until I get there. Ideally, the reason you do something is because you love doing it. You love the hard work. You need to enjoy it too. Otherwise, what's the point? So now you know the 3 books and the lessons I learned from them. But it would unfortunately be pointless to learn how to be productive if you can't even get yourself to do the work. So in order to learn that, watch this video and don't forget, do that thing you're avoiding today and earn your sleep.